So in my last video for my BearHawk rebuild, I said I was going to have all the shocks mounted and the chassis complete, and I was going to talk about power train choices, motor, ESC, all that kind of stuff. But I got to the front end of the chassis and it just looked awful. It's been in storage for 10 years at least, and a lot of the screws had rusted, and the plastic was dusty and dirty, and it basically looked like it had been out getting thrashed and then just put straight back into a box, maybe all the electronics stripped off and put back into a box. I thought, I can't just throw a motor on this and hope for the best. I've stripped down and cleaned and rebuilt the front part, the front end, which is here, which you can see is looking pretty clean. You can see I've polished those up quite nicely. I'll post some before and after photos as well. But anyway, so I'm quite happy with the front end. Another thing I noticed on the arm is on this side there's quite a fair bit of play. And so what I'm going to do, which is what I've done over here, is just insert a little 3mm washer in there. And there's no play, but there's also no binding there, so that's a good outcome. I've completely stripped the gearbox down to bits as well. So one thing I've done here with the diff is I've noticed on my Losi 22 that the ball diff is actually quite stiff. And when I originally built this BearHawk 20-something years ago, all you did was put a light coat of grease inside the gear diff, and off you went. But I've done something different this time. I've actually packed this diff with that grease that I showed you earlier. If you can see that, I've actually put quite a bit of grease in there, and that's just to slow the whole diff action down a bit and just stiffen it up a little bit. And I don't know how long this will last, or if the grease will break down and the whole thing will kind of loosen up again, but it felt pretty good. So there's the back end back together, nice and smooth. I'll go around and clean up all the excess grease on the joints before we get into any dirt. So we've got the rear end, we've got the front end, and all I'm going to do with the putting the chassis on is use a little bit of Loctite on those chassis screws.
Bye.